Hello everyone and welcome back to week 4 for the overview of English 1510 online asynchronous for Comp 1. This week, a couple of different things. It's a basic overview again. This is going to be, this could be slightly different if this is used in a future term, but the basic overview I'll cover for this is a particular part of the announcement here in the first minute or two where just have to note you have 2 videos in each one of these online classes for the week 3 and 4 right now, for depending on which week you're in. So for the sections of 3-5 in the titling here, you'd be in week 4. For the 3-2, you'd be in week 3. But there's a double video on those ones. The additional announcements are the same for both of those online sections. The other online sections have additional ones stated. Just make sure that you've reviewed these. So for week 4, make sure that you've all classes, make sure you reviewed that. Additional comments that cover things, but as an overview for the start of week 4 here, go through the basic protocols. Remember, folks, this is the communication policy up here. This is the communication method for the communication policy. Using instant messaging in the course, make sure that you're utilizing that, and when you do message me there, you're giving me your class and section number. So English 1510-A1235, your name is already included in the messaging. It comes directly to me here, just like with yours. It shows up with a bubble when I have a message, and I can respond directly to the student back and forth with these. Okay, again, if you're going through and not following those and you've sent emails, this has been since before the semester started, not afterwards. Make sure that you're following these guidelines. Those will not be returned. So with the different assignment things and the communication aside, the portions of this on the assignment base that we had from prior weeks, a couple of different things. In the week 4, remember that everyone in the 3rd week, you had discussion board beginning of the memoir pieces. Everybody started up with the rough draft. They were not due in week 3. They will now be due in week 4. We had the diagnostics that you guys did in week 1, and I want to make an announcement about that for starting this week. Okay, so in the 4th week, first and foremost, you have the memoir rough draft. Now, you guys are going to be watching for the feedback from myself on the summary and outline that you submitted. You're going to be looking at those for the component pieces that I suggest, but remember, with the rough draft reviewing, that is a peer review process in this Dropbox. I also put the tutoring recommendations up for most students already on the diagnostics. I'm going to be still posting some of those over the next couple of days. There is a problematic overlap at this time, which tends to happen in some of these, where some students have gotten both of those back. Some students got one or the other, and then some students are getting them at the same time over this week. There's not much I can do about that. There are different factors at play. Some of them, most of them, have to do with student submission files. The file types being incorrect and problematic in processing and trying to figure those things out. You make it more difficult to give feedback when the majority of things I end up having to cover, and most of your professors, have little to nothing to do with the actual assignments themselves or just grading. It's all the errors in communication and software, file type, everything else that makes it so we can't just go to the paper and start grading whatever the submission file is. For my templates for summary and outlines that were submitted last week, those templates that were included in this Dropbox here and are now in the Dropbox for rough drafts, these templates that are here, they're not allowed to be changed, folks. Even this with the graphic organizer still needs to remain a Microsoft Word document. If you click this and open it up, this file that's here is a Word document that can be filled in. As stated on the other file announcement thing, you're not supposed to be taking these away. You're supposed to be writing in your details right here. A general statement, a specific, your topic, and thesis. I said this one was the optional. But when you don't do those things, folks, it's just at these stages it becomes an indication to us that you're using some type of generative AI software because it doesn't know how to differentiate these categories. So you just put in one big block paragraph. So that aside, these were supposed to be filled out from start to finish. These are what I'm going to be responding to and looking at the structure. I'm not going grammar, mechanics, sentence, all those other things. If you know what you're doing and you followed the instructions from the prior 2 weeks and you did the reading out of the textbook, this should be more than self-explanatory, and everyone should have followed these rules here. Now, that aside, this week, you're into the drafting stage of this rough draft. You can access that there. You can access it here. Read through the instructions once more. Remember the draft. I don't have major word count requirements or restrictions here. I just don't want them getting too far beyond these categories. This is a shorter assignment on this. We're not going for, a novella in this setup. Remember to follow these basics on here. No second person. The contracted forms in this one, I want you to weed them out. I really won't mark those down on this. This I will unless it's dialogue, okay? If this is something that second person is distracting in most forms of writing, let alone when you're telling a narrative type of a story. But in any event, this week, guys, I need at least the 600-word draft submitted to me by Sunday, so you're watching for my feedback this week and next over these rough draft submissions. You're going through the drop boxes, and then you're also participating in the discussion board here, which is now the memoir portion. So you're going to be taking a copy of yours and copying and pasting it into one of your submission files here. You can copy and paste the draft. If you do a copy and paste, just please remember to at least reformat it so we have some tab overs on the paragraphs and things. Try and structure it still to look just like the paragraph formatting that you did in an MLA style. You don't need to switch the font back for a peer review form, but you can also just submit or upload a copy of your actual draft in a Word document that your classmates can just open and read in that way and then respond. Make sure, guys, with these, you're not just saying yes or no on these responses to classmates for the additional part of that grade. I want you to make sure that you're giving a classmate as thorough of a review as you would want to get from someone else. Now, that's not to say that you're going to go through and do grammar, mechanics, punctuation, and style unless you really know those things, but at the very least, comment on these things specifically. It doesn't follow the general to specific layout. Saying yes, I mean, of course, it's a 50-50 grab if you're just going to say yes or no. If you say yes, there's a general statement that begins with this, there's a specific that does this. I don't need this to be 2 pages of review, but be as thorough and as conscientious as you would want your classmate to be, anyone else reviewing your work, okay? So that portion of this for the discussion board, guys, remember those things, excuse me, that availability ends at 11:30, so the availability for that now is only going to be open for that submission to that time and completion of that time. From here on now, you're looking at my feedback on the summary outline and your classmates' feedback here on this to do your rough draft. Once rough drafts are submitted, I'm going to go through and put grades on those. Remember, that's going to be rubric-based grade, meaning you post that in there if you meet all the requirements and there are not a myriad things wrong there or missing in format, whatever else, then you'll get most of the points, but I will mark them down if I see a lot of things at the sentence level. I will take points away because of the inability to be able to decipher or determine what you're trying to say. And remember that you're going to go to the content file and you're going to review the grading rubric in here. So general grading rubric, when you see the points scored, if you end up with an A, B, C, or D, you match up here, and these are the focus things that you would revise according to that grade. After the rough drafts are submitted and I have those and this is done and this is done, the following week you're submitting the final draft. This is the time where students should start paying attention to their diagnostic feedback and doing tutoring sessions. Remember, everyone has to do one, so I recommend everybody at least do it through this memoir stage, if not with rhetorical analysis, but we'll get to that in a moment. On this, remember that everyone has to have that, and everyone must do at least one for the semester. It can be face-to-face or online, up here under Student Services, click on Academic Support Center, go there, make the appointment, send in the draft, okay? You can make the appointment for face-to-face or online. Then you're going to submit that final draft by the 22nd. Once I have those, takes me a couple of weeks to get final draft grades back up, but we will have the opportunity with the final draft to do a rewrite. So we did the summary outline, we do a peer review form, we do a rough draft, we do a final, and then for this one, you're going to have a rewrite. And for the online courses, at least, I have decided we are also going to do rewrites with the diagnostics. So what I'm going to show you now is we're heading towards this with memoirs. Week 4, you just have memoir rough draft, memoir discussion board. Those are the things you're working on this week. Make sure the reading is done and all that. The other thing is going to be here, everyone submitted these diagnostics. Now the screen's going to flip just a moment here. Once everyone has these grades back for this diagnostic, and again, some of you, I apologize, you're getting diagnostics at the same time as a summary outline, and some are getting them back sooner than others. It's not really in my control, folks. There are different things with files. You'll all get them this week or beginning of next, okay? But once the diagnostic grades are posted and you have your feedback file, make sure that you read the feedback file in the external Turnitin so you can see the blue and purple marks on the page, that kind of thing. Go through and you'll have the opportunity, everybody will have 2 weeks from the time that's back to you to redo and resubmit the diagnostic essay to get back points for anything that was missed there, including format issues, right? But remember that on there will also be a tutoring recommendation about how often I recommend that you go to tutoring besides just the one that's required for everyone. So with that, you're going to see the screen flip just momentarily here. We're back to the home page on here, guys, onto the assignments. We'll go down here on the upcoming events. You see your memoir availability, rough draft, and then down here below, after rhetorical analysis, summary, and outline, which is in the weeks ahead, you got the diagnostic rewrite that shows up as due here. Now, this means that once you guys get, I have this opening officially next week on, I think I have it opening up on the 15th. So when you're submitting that other file, this is guaranteeing that I have enough time to make sure everyone's diagnostic original essay is posted with all their feedback file to them. You'll make sure that you go through and you click on that, review the diagnostic commentary and everything else this week. And then when this opens up on the 5th, everyone gets that 2-week mark to do a rewrite of those. So anybody who wants to can regain points on that. So whatever your diagnostic actual grading was from this piece here, everyone's file will show up its posted grade and feedback on this side just like these, right? If you click on this and you're looking at those, yours will actually have a feedback file that opens up for your evaluation. And then it actually takes you to Turnitin, make sure you see both blue and purple marks on the page. If you don't, you'll click on the blue check mark or purple tab. But once you see those posted, guys, this will open up and everybody will have 2 weeks to rewrite that. Once you get graded all the way through on the final draft of memoir, once I have everyone's memoir grade posted, the same thing will happen. It'll be sometime later in October, early November. You'll see a drop box that says memoir rewrites, and you get 2 weeks to rewrite that. The rest of them, we don't have time for rhetorical analysis and research, but you make sure that you follow along with these things because you're only given those 2 rewrites, okay? Now, having said that as well, make sure that you're following all of those and you're not just giving me a different paper. You're following those instructions and revising those things. All right. So this week, guys, as I said, your main thing here for week 4, you're going through and you're making sure to do the rough draft of the memoir, finish participating in both posting and commenting on a classmate's draft of the memoir itself. And then this week, guys, finishing up this your own writing of that Dropbox and discussion board, the rough drafting of that for the submission. And then everybody, after those rough drafts are submitted, will be working on those, and then we'll have the final draft due the following week. All right, let me know if you have questions. And remember that once these things are posted, you have the time frame there with these on the rewrites on those. Again, for diagnostic, that'll open up for you guys with that once the This one opens next week, and that'll give you at least 2 weeks on that one and the other one. All right. I'll look forward to seeing the rest of the work.